Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Shubha, Assistant Professor in Chemistry from Government PG College for Women Sector 14, Panchkula. Today I will talk on spectroscopy. Spectroscopy is the study of the interaction between electromagnetic radiation and matter. The matter can be atoms, molecules, and ions. The interaction between radiations and matter as a function of wavelength. So, the interactions with the particle radiation or a response of a material to an alternating field or varying frequency. Spectroscopy, primarily in the electromagnetic spectrum, is a fundamental exploratory tool in the fields of physics and chemistry, allowing the composition, physical structure, and electronic structure of matter to be investigated at the atomic, molecular, and macro scale. Spectrum is a plot of the response as a function of wavelength or more commonly frequency. Next slide is about the electromagnetic radiation. Electromagnetic radiation is a form of energy that is propagated through space at a constant velocity of 3 into 10 raised to power 8 meter per second. These radiations contain both an electric and a magnetic field oscillating at right angles to each other and perpendicular to the direction of propagation of wave as shown in figure. The component electric field is conventionally taken to be oscillating in xy plane because the interaction of electromagnetic radiation with matter is more commonly through electric field component. So the propagation of electric field of electromagnetic radiation is shown in this figure. Characteristics of electromagnetic radiations. These radiations travel with the same velocity of 3 into 10 raised to power 8 meter per second and do not require any medium for propagation. Next is these are characterized by their wavelength lambda and frequency mu. Wavelength, it is the distance between the two adjacent crests or troughs in a particular wave is called wavelength. It is expressed in angstrom, millimicrons, nanometers or meters. Frequency, it is defined as number of waves passing through a given point per second. It is expressed as mu and is measured in cycles per second or in hertz. So the next characteristic is these radiations have dual nature. Dual nature means that it exhibit both wave and particle characteristics. The energy associated with an electromagnetic radiation is directly proportional to its frequency. E is equal to h mu. The absorption or emission of radiation is quantized and each quantum is called a photon. Next slide is about electromagnetic spectrum. All electromagnetic radiations have the same speed, that is 3 into 10 raised to power 8 meter per second. However, the different type of radiations differ from one another in their wavelengths and therefore in frequency. So the arrangement of different types of electromagnetic radiations in the order of increasing wavelength or decreasing frequency is called electromagnetic spectrum. The electromagnetic spectrum is shown in this figure, in which various regions of the spectrums are given by different names. The lowest frequency region is marked by radio waves and the highest frequency regions are marked by the cosmic waves. The boundary between various regions are not precise and each region is associated with different molecular processes. The increasing frequency regions along with various types of spectra arise as in these are as follows. Number 1 is radio frequency region. It lies in the frequency range 3 into 10 raised to power 6 to 3 into 10 raised to power 10 Hz. The energy changes in this region involve change in the spin of a nucleus or of an electron. As a result, the nuclear magnetic resonance, that is NMR, and electronic spin resonance, that is the ESR spectra, are obtained in these regions. Next is microwave region. It lies in the frequency range of 3 into 10 raised to power 10 to 3 into 10 raised to power 12 Hz. The rotational spectra are observed in this region. Next is infrared region. This region spreads in the frequency range of 3 into 10 raised to power 12 to 3 into 10 raised to power 14 Hz. The vibrational spectra are obtained in this region of electromagnetic spectrum. Visible and ultraviolet regions. These regions lie in the frequency range of 3 into 10 raised to power 14 to 3 into 10 raised to power 16 Hz, and electronic spectra is observed in these regions due to excitation of electrons in the valence orbitals of atoms or the molecules. X-ray regions. It lies in the frequency range of 3 into 10 raised to power 16 to 3 into 10 raised to power 18 Hz. This is very high energy regions, and electronic spectra involve changes in electrons in the inner core of atoms or molecules are obtained. Last one is gamma ray and cosmic ray regions. The gamma ray region extends in the frequency range 3 into 10 raised to power 18 to 3 into 10 raised to power 20 Hz, where the cosmic rays are the highest energy radiations present in the frequency range of 3 into 10 raised to power 20 to 3 into 10 raised to power 22 Hz. In these regions, the energy changes involve the rearrangement of nuclear particles which give rise to Mossberg spectra. Now the Born-Oppenheimer approximation. The total energy of a molecule is composed of contributions due to electronic energy, nuclear energy, and energy due to vibrational, rotational, and translational modes of motions. For real molecules, it is not possible to treat these energies independent of each other, but in practice, these energies are considered separable and independent of each other. This is because these energies differ by a large magnitude. Born and Oppenheimer put forward this approximation in 1927, which assumes that since the nuclei are several thousand times heavier than the electrons, therefore the nuclei are expected to move much more slowly than the electrons. Thus, the nuclei may be assumed to be stationary while the electrons move at much faster speed relative to them. Therefore, according to Born-Oppenheimer approximation, the electronic motion and nuclear motion are treated independent of each other. Hence, the translational motion of the molecule as a whole and the vibrational and rotation motion of the molecule of the nuclei within the molecule may be treated separately from the motion of the electrons. Therefore, according to the Born-Oppenheimer approximation, the electronic energy is treated as separately from the translational, vibrational, and rotational energies of the nuclei. Therefore, the total energy of a molecule according to this approximation is given by E is equal to E translational plus E rotational plus E vibrational plus E electronic energy. Now the translational energy is not quantized, but all other energies are. So the magnitude of translational energy is very small compared to the other energies. Since the magnitude is negligible small, so Born-Oppenheimer approximation can also be written as E is equal to E rotational plus E vibrational plus E electronic. Now the degree of freedom. The term degrees of freedom refers of a molecule to the number of coordinates required to specify position of a molecule in space. For example, consider a monoatomic molecule moving along a line, say in x coordinate. So only one coordinate is there to specify its position. So we can say that it has 1 degree of freedom. But if a molecule is moving in two-dimensional plane, so there are two coordinates x and y to specify its position. So the molecule possesses 2 degrees of freedom. If a molecule moves in a three-dimensional space, so we have three coordinates x, y and z. So we can say the molecule possesses 3 degrees of freedom. Now consider a molecule containing n atoms. Considering that the whole mass of atom is concentrated in the nucleus and the size of nucleus is very small compared to that of an atom, the atoms may be represented as mass points. So position of each mass point is defined by 3 coordinates x, y, z. Thus to specify the position of n atoms, we need 3n coordinates and the molecule has 3n degrees of freedom. The number of coordinates needed to specify the position of all mass points in a molecule is called the number of degree of freedom of that molecule. The kinetic energy of a molecule is due to the following types of motion. Number 1 is translational motion of the molecule. Number 2 is the internal motion, vibrational motion and rotational motion of the molecule. The atoms in a molecule cannot move independently, so the molecule undergoes translational motion as a whole. The center of mass of the molecule can be represented by 3 coordinates. The center of mass of a molecule is the point where the whole mass is assumed to be concentrated. So 3 degrees of freedom are attributed to translational motion and the remaining 3 and minus 3 are attributed to internal motions, and internal motions include rotational and vibrational motion of the molecule. In a linear molecule can rotate only about 2 independent axes perpendicular to each other and also to the molecular axis. So it has 2 degrees of freedom as we can see in this table. But in non-linear molecules, there are 3 independent modes of rotations about 3 mutually perpendicular axes. Thus, if we subtract the translational and rotational degree of freedom from the total 3n, we get the number of vibrational degrees of freedom. The vibrational degrees of freedom for a linear molecule having n atoms, that is 3n minus 3, 3 is for translational, minus 2, 2 is for rotational degree of freedom, so it would be 3n minus 5. The vibrational degree of freedom for a non-linear molecule having n atoms is equal to 3n minus 6. Basic features of spectroscopy. Spectroscopy, it is used as a tool for studying the structure of atoms and molecules. It also provides a precise analytical method for finding the constituents in materials having unknown chemical composition. Determine the atomic structure of a molecule. Determine the metabolic structure of a muscle. It also helps in studying spectral emission lines of distant galaxies, altering the structure of drugs to improve effectiveness. So there are many different types of spectroscopy, but the most common types used for chemical analysis include atomic spectroscopy, ultraviolet and visible spectroscopy, infrared spectroscopy, Raman spectroscopy, and nuclear magnetic resonance. In this presentations, I will mainly discuss rotational spectroscopy. So the rotational spectroscopy, it is the absorption spectra in the microwave regions results from the transitions between rotational energy levels of the molecules. The essential condition for a molecule to show rotational spectra is that it must possess a permanent dipole moment. Examples of the molecules which show the rotational spectrum are HCl, carbon monoxide, etc. Now the rotation of molecules. Spectroscopy in the microwave region is concerned with the study of rotating molecules. Rotation of 3D body may be quite complex. So rotation complex components about 3 mutually perpendicular directions through the center of gravity, the principal axis of rotations. So there are 3 principal moment of inertia, which is IA, IB and IC. Classification of molecules based on the shapes. Linear molecules like hydrogen, nitrogen, symmetric top molecules, spherical top molecules, asymmetric top molecules. Types of molecules which exhibit rotational spectra. So these spectra are shown by the molecules which have permanent dipole moment. The oscillating electric field is generated by the rotation of polar molecules. The interaction between the electric field of rotation and oscillating electric field of molecule causes the absorption of radiation by the molecule, and hence it is promoted from lower rotational level to a higher level. A molecule having no permanent dipole moment doesn't generate the oscillating electrical field on rotation and hence cannot interact with the radiation. Consequently, such a molecule doesn't exhibit rotational spectrum. Thus, the essential condition for a molecule to show rotational spectrum is that it must possess a permanent dipole moment. Examples like homonuclear diatomic molecules like hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, etc. These are non-polar molecules, so they do not exhibit rotational spectra as they do not possess a permanent dipole moment. They are symmetrical molecules like carbon dioxide, carbon disulfide, ethane and methane, etc. They also do not have permanent dipole moment and thus they do not exhibit rotational spectra. Now the expression for rotational energies and the rotational spectra of a diatomic molecule. While treating the rotational motion of a diatomic molecule, we adopt a model of rigid rotator. In this assumption, the atoms are represented as ball of mass m1 and m2 joined by a rigid bar of length r, which represents the distance between two atoms in molecules, as we can see in this figure. The molecule rotates about an axis passing through its center of gravity at a point C. The length of the rigid bar is R0, that is equal to R1 plus R2. The center of gravity of a diatomic molecule is defined by this equality, which is m1r1 is equal to m2r2. The moment of inertia I of the molecule is given by I is equal to m1r1 ka square plus m2r2 ka square. Hence the moment of inertia can be written as I is equal to mr square. Here m is the reduced mass, that is equal to m1 m2 upon m1 plus m2. The angular momentum L of the rotating molecule is defined as L is equal to I omega, where omega is the angular velocity. The angular momentum is quantized and its value is given by L is equal to J bracket J plus 1 h upon 2 pi, where J is a rotational quantum number and it can be 0, 1 or 2 and so on. So the rotational energy of a molecule is given by Ej is equal to half I omega square or L square upon 2I. The quantized rotational energy levels of a rotating diatomic rotor can be obtained by substituting the value of L, which is the angular momentum, in this equation. So we get the E is equal to J bracket J plus 1 h square upon 8 pi square I. So this equation is obtained by solving the Schrodinger wave equation for a rigid diatomic motor. By substituting J is equal to 0, 1, 2, which gives the pattern of rotational energy levels. So the spacing between these energy levels keeps on increasing with the increasing value of J. Selection rules for rotational transitions. For a rigid diatomic rotator, the selection rule is delta J is equal to plus minus 1. That is, the transition can take place only between those rotational energy levels for which the change in rotational quantum number is unity. The transition delta J is equal to plus 1 corresponds to absorption, while delta J is equal to minus 1 corresponds to emission. In other words, a molecule in J is equal to 0 state will move to J is equal to 1. Similarly, a molecule in J is equal to 1 state can go to a level J is equal to 2. Even the emission can take place only between the neighboring lower level. The probability of all the transitions with delta J is equal to plus minus 1 is almost the same. So all these transitions are likely to occur. However, the transitions that show a change in delta J is equal to plus minus 2 and plus minus 3 are forbidden. The transitions that obey the selection rules are called allowed transitions, and whereas those which do not show the selection rule is called forbidden transitions. Now the next is the intensity of rotational spectrum lines. The probability for all the transitions allowed by selection rule delta J is equal to plus minus 1 is almost equal, but they are not equally intense. As a result, the intensities of different transitions in rotational energy levels are not equal. The intensity increase with increasing J, passes through a maximum and then decrease as J further increases. The relative intensities of spectral lines depend upon the relative population of the energy levels. If an energy level is highly populated, more number of molecules will undergo transition from this level to higher level, and hence greater will be the intensity of the resulting line. The relative population of energy level is determined by the product of degeneracy factor and the Boltzmann distribution. So intensity is directly proportional to Nj upon N0, which is equal to 2J plus 1 E minus Ej upon Kt. By substituting the value of Ej, we can write as Bj bracket J plus 1. As J increases, the factor 2J plus 1 also increases, whereas the exponential factor decreases to a lesser extent in the beginning and then rapidly as the value of J increases further. So the quantity N J upon N naught versus J for a rigid diatomic molecule is shown in this figure. It is clear from this graph that the relative intensity passes through maximum and then it decreases. Applications of microwave spectroscopy, that is rotational spectroscopy. So we can determine the bond length of diatomic molecules by calculating the bond moment of inertia. So microwave spectra can help in determination of moment of inertia and hence bond length of diatomic molecules. From the rotational spectrum of a given diatomic molecule, the frequency separation 2b can be determined. 2b is equal to h upon 4 pi square IC. Thus, the moment of inertia of a diatomic molecule can be calculated from this equation. And once the I is calculated by substituting the value of I and mu, because I is equal to mu r square. Once we know the I, that is the moment of inertia, and the mu, that is the reduced mass, it is possible to calculate the bond length, that is the internuclear distance r between the two atoms. The last topic of this presentation is effect of isotopic substitution. If an atom in a molecule is replaced by its isotope, the resulting substance has identical chemical properties as that of the original substance. There is no change even in the bond length on isotopic substitution. However, there is change in total mass and hence in moment of inertia and B value of the molecule, as B is equal to h upon 8 pi square IC, where I is in the denominator term. So as I increases, B will decrease. Therefore, the rotational energy levels come closures. So here we take example of carbon monoxide, where in first case carbon 12 is the isotope, and in the second example it is in 13 isotope. So taking a carbon monoxide as an example, when C12 is substituted by its isotope C13 to get carbon monoxide of C13, the mass increases and hence there is decrease in B value. If we designate C13 molecule with a B dash, then B is greater than B dash. Therefore, the lowering of rotational energy levels of 13 isotope of carbon monoxide takes place with respect to energy levels of 12 carbon monoxide molecule. Therefore, as we can see in this figure, the separation between the spectral lines, that is 2B dash of 13 isotope of carbon monoxide, will be smaller than those of 12 carbon monoxide. So value of B and B dash are determined from rotational spectrum. Comparing the B and B dash, we can also know I and I dash. So it is assumed that the internuclear distance remains unchanged on isotopic substitutions. So the value of B and B dash are obtained from rotational spectrum. Substituting the value of reduced mass for both isotopes, that is for the lighter and heavier molecules, we can also calculate the reduced mass, that it is atomic mass of isotopic C13 can be calculated. Thus, isotopic substitution can be used to determine the atomic mass of the isotope. So the relative abundance of the isotope can also be determined by the comparison of absorption intensities. These are the references